live. So officially, welcome to Thursday's Cosmic Conversation. If you are new, welcome. If you're on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe, and feel free to share and get the notifications turned on. If you are not watching on YouTube and you'd like to, my name is Stacie Harder, Stacie Harder, and that's my YouTube name as well as my Instagram name. If this is your first time, we do this every Thursday. I see, meeting is now streaming. Awesome. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Pacific, and 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you're not in those time zones, feel free to figure that out. If you'd like to join us on the Zoom, our Zoom is 428-733-218. And that is the same Zoom number we meet in each week. We love interaction and questions, so feel free to questions, write them up, join us, and ask away. Next is, I love to think that this is a place where you get to come together and know that you are not alone on this amazing journey of human experience. We literally can talk about anything and everything, and a lot of that conversation depends on you. So I will do my techie stuff, and I will pass it over to my mom, and she does the intro part. So take it away, my mother, Dr. Heather Harder.
Welcome, welcome. I'm more like low-key than Stacie. And one of the most important things that we do to start each session is just ask for protection, guidance, and truth. We're living at a time where we've never been so bombarded with information. Some of it helpful, some of it not so helpful, some of it truth, some of it not so true. It's important to always ask, to recognize truth, to know truth, so we can screen away all the misinformation that doesn't serve us at this time. And there is a lot of it. It constantly amazes me. And people say, well, how do you know what's truth and what's not? There's no outside source that you can trust to say it's always truth. It has to come from the insides of you. Everyone is born with what I call a truth filter, and that requires you to go within and just sit with it, sit with the energy, sit with the words, sit with concept, and just see how it feels. Truth will resonate in your body differently than non-truth. It feels different. If we were talking about taste, it might taste a little sour if it's non-truth, where truth just feels smoother and more calming. You know, everybody feels differently. We have different words to describe those feelings that we feel, but you'll be able to tell the difference whether it's truth or not if you take the time to discern. Discernment is probably the most important skill that you can develop and use during this time, because as I said, we're getting so much information, and some of the highest authorities are literally giving us information that takes us way off our path. And don't rely on someone's status, someone's prior history, someone's belief system, how accurate they've been at other times in their life. Just in each situation, every day is a new day by design. Ask to know truth and trust that whatever you feel. Doesn't matter what others are saying, trust how you feel. Remember, at one time, everybody on the planet believed the world was flat. You were all going to fall in the ocean and be eaten by monsters if you went to the edge. At one time, we believed that the sun moved around the earth. That just because the masses believe something doesn't mean it's true. It's really important for each and everything that's important to you to discern the truth for yourself. And that goes along with everything you've been taught by your loving parents or school districts or whatever. We've been given a lot of information to keep us limited, keep us down, keep us quiet and passive. And this is the time to shuck all that off and really become our greatest self. So again, the most important thing that you can take away from tonight's session, we haven't started yet, is to always take the time to discern truth. If you're not sure, keep discerning until you do. Ask for information, ask for backup, ask for evidence. You'll get what you need because the universe is required to give you what you ask for as long as you ask for it with belief and trust. And so with that, that's the end of part one. Asking for truth, this and protection and guidance. And then the second part is we play in the light. We're here as light workers. It means we're here to manipulate, to use, to generate, to empower light. And that may not sound like much, but it really is the most important thing that we can do as light workers. Light is the highest vibration of energy on the planet. It is light, love, God, all carry the same vibration. So when you're playing with the light, you're playing with the highest vibration that exists in all the universe that we can feel at this time. And so the more we play with it, the more we share that light around the planet, the more we heal the planet, the more we raise our own vibration. Because if you're playing in the mud, of course, you're going to get muddy. If you're playing in the light, you're just going to become lighter. That's the way the universe works. So take the time to play in the light. And so this next exercise is just to play in the light. And I guide you through based on what I've been told and what I know to be helpful. But in your own head, you can go and do anything you want as far as sharing the light, sharing the love. You just don't want to put conditions to it. If you put conditions to it, it's no longer unconditional love. It's no longer the higher vibration. It becomes a tool for manipulation and control. And that's not a good thing in the universal scheme of things. So if you send light to heal your Aunt Bertha, that's a no-no. Aunt Bertha has the right to be sick. You can send light to Aunt Bertha, but whether she uses it to heal or to die is her choice. The only exception to that is if Aunt Bertha asks you to send her light to heal her, then you can send light to heal. But each of us are on this planet to walk our own path, to have our own ups and downs. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing is what we would label good or bad. It just simply is. And so if you send light to fix someone, to change something, to do something, that's conditional. You're putting strings. Much like if I gave you $100 for your birthday and said, here, go buy school clothes. That's a conditional gift. I'm giving you that money to do a specific thing. If it were unconditional, I would be giving you $100 and say, enjoy. And whatever you do with it is your right to do with it. That's unconditional, no strings, no directions. And that's really important. So when you're playing with a light, no strings, unless you're asked to involve yourself. That allows that person to stay in charge of their own destiny. If you do for a string, then you are altering their destiny and you take on their karmic debt. You do not want to do that. So, with that said, there is nothing magic about eyes. Eyes open, eyes closed, either is fine. This is sort of a guided meditation. And so I walk you through things that you can do, but feel free to do them differently if you feel so moved. There's no wrong way to give unconditional love and light. If you know of situations and people that need love and light, please send it in abundance. It's that important. And not just the people who deserve it. We send it to everyone because that's how we're going to bring about change in the planet. We don't do it to bring about change. That would be conditional. We do it because we are light and love, and we're using that energy in a very profound way. So with that said, eyes open, eyes closed, whatever you prefer. And we're going to, I probably will close my eyes because I block out the distractions, but you can do whatever you want. And I want you just to imagine every cell of your body melting, relaxing, Life on Earth is pretty stressful right now, lots of complications. You're probably finding there's a lot of obstacles coming up in your life as per divine plan. So just imagine all that stress melting away. Just feel your face melt, your shoulders melt. Any place where there's knots or restrictions, just feel it melt away as you become more and more relaxed. And then I want you to set your intention to go to center. When you go to center, you are as united with the divine source that sent you to this planet as possible. When you are centered, you are in connection with your divine team. And as you go to center, I also call that my happy place. As you go to center, just imagine this beautiful pillar of light and step into it. Feel how your body responds to this light. Feel this light come from the heavens to you and through you. And go deep into the earth. This is why we came. We're each ambassadors of the light, anchoring this heavenly energy into the earth. We are anchoring heaven to earth. Yay for us. So just feel this light flow to you and through you from the heavens into the earth. Feel yourself become grounded, stable, connected both to your earthly experience and as well as your divine source. Feel this energy flow to the earth, through the earth, filling every cell in, on, and around this planet with this pure, unconditional love. Feel this love, feel every crevice, every hole, every space. Feel this love. Feel every cell, every atom, every molecule of everything on this planet as it flows around this planet. And then send this love and light out into the atmosphere. The atmosphere is to this planet as our skin is to our body. It is exceedingly important for overall health of this planet. So our job is just to love it and see this light and love spread around this world. Healing, repairing, doing whatever it is that the universe decrees. We're just sending light and love. The weather patterns are how the earth finds her balance. Much like if we get a cootie, we might throw up, get diarrhea. That's the way our body finds its stabilization and its health. The earth does weather patterns. So just send love and light to all the weather patterns all over this planet. Those are places where the earth is out of balance. We can just help it get back to balance by just loving it. No expectations, no demands, just love. On this planet, there are those who do not want this planet to get healthy and to evolve into a higher consciousness. So they are doing whatever they can do to block the progress. They manipulate the atmosphere, they manipulate the weather patterns, They even alter the Earth's energy. Love them. Love these people who intentionally interfere with the progress of this planet. Divine plan indicates that this Earth will evolve into a fifth dimensional consciousness. Nothing anyone else can do can stop it. But they can slow it down and make it a little bumpy. So we just want to love them. And so just imagine these kids like throwing tantrums and making scenes to stop its natural progress into love and light. Connecting everyone on the planet is this thing we call the collective consciousness. Everyone who's ever been on this planet or ever will be on this planet has contributed to this collective consciousness. The collective consciousness unifies all things, and it carries the vibration of the collective. Each of us impact this collective consciousness, and in turn, this collective consciousness impacts everyone. So we want to just pump it full of love. We each have the right to make our deposit into the collective consciousness as we see fit. So just imagine, I like to see it like a bicycle pump, and we just pump it full of love. And we see this love goes out and connects all things, always. On this planet right now, we have the situation of Afghanistan, where there's a lot of turmoil, a lot of fear, a lot of violence, a lot of anger, a lot of division. And so imagine just sending love and light into this beloved country, into all the people there, into all the people who have strong feelings about it, into all the people who are affected by it. Send love to all the military that have spent the last 20 years protecting it, changing it. Send love and light to all the machinery and the military gear, including the bombs and bullets that have been left there. Just fill them full of love so that anyone and everyone that touches them will be filled with love. Fill all the planes and the cars and technical equipment that's been left behind with love. They were bought and paid for by American money, so therefore we can just fill them with love. Imagine every grain of sand throughout that country being infused with love and light. So that anyone who walks on that ground is affected by that ground, feels the presence of that love and light. Now expand that out to every place on this planet where there is war, where there is conflict, where there is greed, where there is control and manipulation, and just fill all those places with love. Fill all the people who are there or affected by it with love. Fill all those who are in deception, who are in greed, who are in personal agenda with love. On this planet, there are things that are happening to distract us, and there's things that are happening because they need to happen. We don't know which is which, so we want to just love them all. Love all those on the planet who are in fear, who are in desperation, who are in lack and limitation with love. On this planet, we have many influencers. We have those that make decisions on our behalf, that are in business world, that are in organizational world, that are in the medical fields. They fill us full of information. We have political leaders at every level, in every country around the world. Fill them all with love. Those that are working for highest good, as well as those who are working for personal good. Love them all. Love those who are making decisions on our behalf for the greatest good. Love those who are making decisions because of greed, personal interest, control and manipulation, mind control. Love those as well. Love the oceans and the rivers and the aquifers and all the water that unifies this planet. Just send love and light to them. Love them. Love all the bodies of water, all the healing, refreshing, flowing, dynamic bodies of water. On this planet, there are those who take sides. They think sides are the way to win. That if my team is stronger or bigger or more mouthy or more aggressive than the other team, I win. But as long as there are sides, nobody wins. So imagine all these sides being filled with love and light and coming together to celebrate the oneness, to recognize what affects one side affects all sides, regardless of colors or beliefs or political affiliations. They were all one. Just love them. And now I'm going to be quiet for a few moments and give you each a chance to love whoever you feel needs your love, to send love to wherever you feel needs this love. It's an energy vibration, much like a vitamin B shot for the earth. Just love. And when you love with a sincere heart, with no manipulation, no conditions, you are doing more good than you can imagine. So send love to your family, to your friends, to anyone who needs or wants it. So continue to use this collective love in whatever way seems right for you in the moment. Love all the babies who are being born now. We're getting ready to be born. These powerful souls are stepping into active duty, the likes that we can't imagine. So we want to love them. Love those who are on the planet who will give up their lives to change consciousness. Love them. Love those who feel they're working on the divine path. Love those who are doing what they feel is best for the reasons they feel are just, regardless of the action they take. Just love them. Most important, imagine loving yourself, filling every cell, every atom, every organ, every tissue, every DNA strand with love. You have volunteered to come in for active duty at a time where we are in such flux. That's very, very brave. So love yourself. Let the universe fill you with love and appreciation. We knew this was not going to be an easy time. We came anyway. So just let yourself be saturated with this collective love. Accept it. Graciously acknowledge that the universe is well pleased with your actions. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to continue to do your best. And now we give permission to the angels to use this energy that we've created in any way that serves this planet. And we are grateful for all of the beings and all of the different worlds and all the different forms who are here to serve this planet. We are grateful for the wondrous gifts that we have and grateful for those gifts that we have yet to uncover. We're grateful for who we are and who we have the potential to be. If it be your choice, ask to be empowered with the truth of who you are and what you're capable of. You are so much more than you can imagine. And the world is so much more complicated than you dare dream. Knowing all of it, you came. And like a computer, that's disk is erased, you're each having to dig through your database in order to rediscover the information, the skills, and the ability that was lost. Intentionally lost so that you could uncover it, become empowered by it. Share your gratitude in whatever way feels appropriate. And then when it's time, just come back to the here and now, allowing yourself to bring with you all of the power, all of the knowledge, all of the truth of who you are. Mhm. When you're ready, just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Just bring yourself into your body. And if you have a journal, you might want to jot down a few words of how you're feeling so that you can remember it, go back into this energy at will. And anybody want to share anything? Lucas, you look like you're just having so much fun. I would love to have you share perceptions or experiences or whatever.
Well, this is very joyful, and I had a very similar moment in my meditation earlier, and it kind of confirms. And it through all of it, I want to touch on the first thing you said, just expand on it a little bit, how discernment is important, and how it's very important to understand how you feel about this. That was something that I really came to terms with earlier, because thought is very cunning, is very adapting. So can't trust it. And discernment is the difference. And the only weapon I have against it is my feelings. So how I feel, not how I think or what I think about this, I should do. It's just the emotion is the much trickier thing too, because thought feeds on emotion to create its reality. And so when something provokes an emotional reaction on me, that's not so much my feeling, but that's my response to it. And so I can't really think about that in terms of that being me, but to feel it, to feel the truth of my existence and to know what my purpose here is. That's sort of my first weapon towards it, was the feeling. It was very great to have heard to say.
Their holy quest. I would also caution you about your thoughts and your versus your feelings. The Native Americans call our mind the trickster. It's the coyote. Your thoughts are an act of creation. So as we're thinking about something, we're actually creating it. So and the mind loves to fill in the blanks. So the mind will create stories. And so when you feel yourself making justifications or making up stories or reasons, or, building a logical base for whatever it is that you're going through, that's your mind. Your mind may not be giving you the truth. It may be filling in the blanks that create a story. Feeling is something that doesn't necessarily come with thoughts. It just is. And so by just allowing the feelings, you're able to discern then whether or not those feelings serve you or not. Feelings are different than emotions. So we have sort of lumped everything together, but they're not really together. But thank you, Lucas, for that, because that was very important. And when I open my eyes, I just see his great big beaming smile. So it's nice to have that word of support.
I like playing in the light.
The universe must have given us that just for you. And that's why we're here. And yet we don't often give ourselves the 3 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes just to sit and play in the light. We're supposed to be light-hearted, to look at the light side of life. There's all these cliches dealing with the light, and yet we go around thinking hard and having to be purposeful and working and all this stuff. So just begin to play. Be like a child and just play. Sit and give yourself 2 or 3 minutes to play in the light, and you'd be amazed at how different you feel and how different your life will be. Anybody else want to share anything? Who's our customer service person? I remember seeing that before, but I don't remember who did it.
Oh, it's Nate. I'll change it back. I'm sorry. It's Nate. I'm going to go ahead and change it that way. I don't know.
Okay. It's okay as long as we know who it is, but I just don't remember seeing it. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and change it.
Oh, I'd like that. Thank you, Nate. Now I remember customer service.
Okay. Sorry.
Anything you want to add after playing in the light?
What's that? Oh, I was just taking everything in. It was a great, meditation. And so I'm just in a place where, I'm grateful to be alive, and we're actually driving back from the beach. We're at Virginia Beach.
So, okay. Yeah. How fun. Well, we're glad you're alive too.
Beautiful. Yes, please. And we'll always be, because we're infinite. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of this. And I did have, I kind of had my own internal revelation of just like, just looking at all the cars and how people get so caught up in being busy and getting to the next point. And I laughed because I said, where are we going? Because if we're universal, there's nowhere to go. There's like nowhere to take yourself out of the present moment and worrying about where you have to get to, your destination, traffic, because it's like, when you come into the oneness, you realize how connected you are, yes. And it's just some internal conversation I was having with myself, but just wanted to share that out loud.
Well, the universe has all kinds of lessons for us wherever we are. So being open to them is all we need to do, and even in a car and even in travel and all that stuff. So congratulations. Anything online, Stacy? People are sharing? You're muted. Go ahead, Stacy. Then Lucas can share again.
Jake online says a very lovely meditation. And I just want to welcome everybody who joined us late, like Claudia and Nelsie, Nate, and all them. So anyways, yeah, I really love the turning everything into love. I felt that shift actually. And it's like, I don't say domino effect, but I felt like when we were in Afghanistan, sending the love to everything, like I felt the shift and transfer. It's really cool. And that's the other thing too, is like the deception is like, we just have to pray to know truth. And also look, like if they're putting our attention one place, then it's also good to look the other directions to see what's actually happening, because we don't truly know what's going on or what they're telling us. So I think it's really important, like you said, that so powerful right now more than ever is to be inward, go with your own compass, what's aligning, what's vibrating, what's.
And if you feel like you're getting on some side, regardless of the side, take a breath and recognize that we're all one. There are no sides. And as soon as you're taking a side, you have lost the power of who you are. Because in order to take a side, you have to divide with whatever category that you're using. As I said, right now, so many things are going on at so many different levels that nobody at any level of human existence knows whether that's a positive or negative. It's just a thing that right now people are moving out in droves out of New York and California. But that could be a good thing, because we've all been hearing about the possibility of warming the planet and washing away those little two places. So we have to trust that whatever happens is divinely perfect. And if you feel like then you need to move, then move. If you feel like you need to go someplace else, then go someplace else. Don't second guess yourself. Just follow your gut. I was talking to a woman this week who said something that she's feeling that she needed to move the country into the trees. And I said, well, why aren't you? She said, well, it just sounds so silly. And I said, if that's what you're feeling the need to do, then don't. Who are you worrying about sounding silly? Just go do it. And she goes, well, I never thought about that. It's like, yeah, think about that. You'll all be told what you need to be told, but not everybody will trust what they're told. So
Well,
Pay attention to that inner voice.
that conversation also brings up to our conversation we had a couple days ago, that I'll have you talk about Pompeii. But I also feel that that's super important, that even if you want to look up, I think Notre Dame, there's a lot of people who talks about predictions, and there's a map of the United States. And obviously Los Angeles is not on the map anymore. A lot of areas, like I left LA and I would have never thought I left LA, and because I loved it so much, but it was also so in me. I knew that there was a big change coming. I didn't know exactly what that was, but as soon as that started happening, it was like, yes, because I send it love, but it's not the place I moved to. And there's so much going on, and I can feel it and sense it. And it's like everything in my system was like, get out, get away, get safe. And so it is not always easy to make those decisions, but at the same time, it is the most important time more than ever is to listen to you, to feel
Your inner guidance.
Yes. Will you share the Pompeii story real quick?
Well, we hear about Pompeii all the time, and we see all the plaster casts, because what happened is when the ashes landed and descended around people, it sort of created a crust. And then as the people inside sort of turned to dust because of the temperatures, they just sort of evaporated. It created these perfect casts. And so that's why we know so much about Pompeii, is because we can see the people exactly where they were, what they were doing, what they were touching. It's very evident that how the destruction happened. But what's not so evident is what was going on for years before Pompeii happened, that had, there was all kinds of rumbling and all kinds of things taking place in Pompeii, where thousands and thousands and thousands of people moved away from Pompeii, that there was only a very small part of the original population that stayed in Pompeii. And so that's sort of what's going on now. People.
If you pause, for some reason, Instagram has paused my video. I'm not sure why.
We'll just send them love.
Well,
we'll just send them love.
I'm just gonna end it and we'll go live again real quick. Hang on.
I love this part.
I know you do. It's your favorite.
You ready?
Nope. I have to let it allow me to move again. Okay. Checking connection. It should be live. So welcome back. This is part 2. Instagram frozen me. I don't know what happened. And so it paused. And if you are joining us back, welcome. And I just wanted to fill you in just in case we were just getting on. We were talking about Pompeii and leading up to Pompeii. Hang on. I'm going to invite the people that were just on. I'm going to invite you back. Nelsie. Oh, Nelsie joined here.
Ready?
Okay. We got a few people back. We didn't get the people that were on earlier, but that's okay. Hopefully you'll be joining us.
All divinely perfect.
Yes, all divinely perfect. But real quick, talking about Pompeii.
The important part of the story is that there were lots of warnings in the years leading up to the Pompeii disaster, where lots and lots and lots, a large percentage of the population actually moved away from Pompeii. And so when the damage occurred, there wasn't as many people there as there had been prior to that. And so the same thing is happening now. We have lots of people feeling the need to go someplace else, to move someplace else. I mean, when we were trying to move Steve out of California, there wasn't even U-Haul trucks available because they were all used. And the ones that were there, they were charging 3 times the regular amount for. And so people are feeling the need to take action. If you feel that need, follow it. No one else can tell you what you need to do, but you need to listen to the inner you who does know what you need to do. You know, all of this has already happened in the universe, and we're just activating it, making it happen. So follow your heart, do what you need to do. With that, Lucas, you wanted to say something? Can we call on you now?
No, I was just gonna share right after what Nathan said. That's how my conversation with myself started. This was the same exact question: where are we all going? How come we all have so many different versions of this story? And my conclusion was that at the end of it all, we'll all find out anyway, right? So I might as well go with what feels right to me instead of trying to overthink this and intellectualize what I already feel to be right, what already feels good with every bone in my body. So I just wanted to share that. That's very interesting because that's the exact same question that brought me about thought versus truth.
And recognize it's the mind that wants to know. The mind is wanting to fill in the blanks. That is not important. It's the heart that says, it's all cool. I'm where I need to be. And so if you're got all these questions and you're looking for all the scientific facts and the this and that, then recognize that's an overactive mind that does not serve your spiritual journey. It's getting the mind in harmony with body and soul. But when you are getting those internal messages from the heart, from the soul, and the soul's already there. The soul's sort of a guide on this journey. It knows where you're going, what you need to do, but we don't listen to the soul so much. When you're working in harmony with the soul intent, there's a peace that's like, I don't know where I'm going. And people get absolutely bummed out when they say, you know, I'm selling my house right now. They say, where are you going? I don't know. there's 5 states and I'm going to one of them. I have no idea. And people say, well, you know, how can that would drive me crazy. It's like, it'll be fine. I know the place I need to go. I know the land and I know it's being prepared for me. And when I'm to that point, it'll be there and ready for me. And so that's that soul peace. And you've got to get to that point. Anybody else have anything they want to say or ask?
Well, one thing that came up also in a conversation I thought was like, I'm going to share it because I liked it. Basically, there's some questions about integrity, like what to do or what not to do if they have a job that is making them no longer have a choice. So we're all in our own challenging times as far as questions and what to do, listen to yourself or have a job. I mean, there's all these different things that are going on. But I think above all of it, every single person here, we all are one. We know that, but we're all here for different reasons and different purposes. And so you have to kind of ask yourself and go in on what is the right choice for you to do. But what I do ask is that each of you look at what is your truth. If we continue to choose something that is not in alignment with us, then we're actually, in my opinion, affecting the collective consciousness that is out of integrity. And if we become more in integrity and more in our truth, we actually affect the collective consciousness, in my opinion, quicker, faster, in the most pure way, because we're living in that. And so I think that if you're making certain decisions, the best part to do right now is to speak your truth, to be in your truth. And sometimes it's not always perfect or picture perfect, that's for sure. But are you speaking your truth? Are you living your truth? And remember that the collective is really just also an aspect of us. And so where are we out of alignment? And the more we can live and speak our truth and be in our truth, the more we bring that in the collective as well. So I just want to share that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else want to ask or say anything? My goodness, we've already spent an hour. It's hard to believe it's been an hour already. And what many people are finding, again, nobody can make that decision for you. Whatever decision you make is very important. And I just continue to send love and light to everyone, because these are exceedingly important times that we live in. But what more and more people are finding out is it's amazing they can function without a job, that somehow they get through, that somehow they make it. And Lucas is in traveling across the country and probably doesn't have a steady job, but he's functioning and very, very happy with his life. Many people are becoming in that vein. It's like, I can survive. God will provide, and every day is sort of amazing and how things happen. Lucas, you want to say anything about that?
Well, I've never really had a job. Like, I travel places, I'll do whatever needs to be done to make the money I need to sustain the lifestyle I've chosen, whether that be bartending, serving, bussing tables, selling cars, whatever needs to be done. But I've never identified with a certain career. And I think that we're all mini billionaires who just don't really tap into our potential to make money because we're too caught up on our fear of our life not ending up where we envision. Money is just there. I know that sounds superficial to say it, but I'm not going to get any richer than I am today or than I was yesterday or a year ago tomorrow. So I might as well live my truth according to it.
And energy, money is just an energy made manifest. It's the energy of exchange. When we put too much value to it, the soul of money. Okay, I've not seen that book before. So give us the crust.
Say it again, Lucas, or talk when you show the book.
Soul of Money.
Talk about it so he can be on the screen.
This is The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. And not only is it interesting there's technical ways in which how money works that you mentioned it, but it's mostly about how your relationship with money has more to do with how much money you have than anything else in your life. And so if you have a bad relationship with it, then you're not really aware of where you're making bad decisions to sabotage yourself. And so just being aware of this makes you have a healthier relationship with this tool of empowerment, not a tool of consumism. So this is a good book, I believe.
And your relationship with money is very much a mirror to your relationship with everyone else. That one relationship reflects other relationships. So your money relationship reflects your professional relationship, which reflects your personal relationship, which mirrors your intimate relationships. So that any one kind of relationship you can begin to look at and see, how can I do this in a healthier, balanced way? And that will also go back to impacting your money relationship.
And I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I just said I believe that's also ultimately what shapes our perception of this reality. So if you're having a bad time, then you have to revisit how do you feel about your relationships with everything, not just interpersonal. And how do you feel, not what you think about it. Oh, I think I could make more. No, how do you feel about where you are and how much money you're making in this situation? And there's nothing wrong about where you are. Just look at, if you want to be somewhere different, what do you have to do? Who do you have to become?
And that's really what I call the magic 18-inch journey that we're all on, going from head, which is thinking, to heart, which is feeling and knowing. And so we have grown up, most of us came from a world that was thinking. It had to be rational, it had to make some sense. We learned to control and manipulate, and then moving into a feeling, allowing space is very different. But that's really that journey we're on, from head to heart. Pay attention to when you're in your head, and that's an indication of how much growth you still have to do to get to your heart. Easy breezy.
Well, I think even the relationship too with self is like a reflection on what kind of partnership you're bringing in.
Yeah, and the relationship with yourself is reflecting in your money relationships. Again, so it's all very related. The universe gives us so many opportunities to heal. We just have to be mindful and allow it.
Because the world is just a mere reflection of our internal world. So we get to choose. Do we want to keep that or do we want to shift it? Because we are the master manifesta.
Okay.
And about reflections, I just have to add this. The world is a mere reflection, and everyone else in your life is your projection of who you need them to be so you can learn your lessons. It's nothing more than that. No one is making you crazy. There's no me versus you. It's just all that you, it's your guide to the success and to the divine is to look at your relationship.
I agree. That's the journey we're all on.
Nelsie, Laura, Nate, you guys want to say anything? Because you guys are actually on here with us.
No, thank you.
I was just keeping the background noise here because
I'm listening though. And we're making dinner and stuff. So, but good conversations.
Yeah, well, welcome back.
Enjoy.
Laura or LD?
Not much. Just I've been listening. I'm actually trying to straddle wrangling two little girls too. So I'm kind of in and out.
Well, the picture that you have here with you is very powerful because it feels like she's just staring right at me. So it makes me drawn to you. So feel free to add whenever you see fit.
Okay.
Although I have to tell you, I miss the cupcake sometimes.
I know, right? You can see it on my Facebook.
Her old icon looked like a aerial view of a cupcake. So anyway, anything coming from our online friends?
No questions yet. Lots of waves and whatnot, but
yeah, a lot of just preparation. And you know, even though it looks like we're in a storm, but there's really, you know, a bigger storm coming, but it's just remaining centered through everything. So I'm just being more present because I was spending a lot of time just prepping and doing all the okay, do I need to move? What I need to do? You know, because it's a lot because you have two different energies that are kind of at war with each other, but it's like, it's at the same time, it's not a war. So it's just a simulation of energies all mixing in. And we're just here to do our part and just
and recognize when you're asking yourself this question, do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? That's the mind. It has to know that mind seeks information, knowledge, whatever. If you need to move, your heart is going to tell you that. You're going to feel those gentle internal stirrings. You're going to go, oh, I'm kind of looking at farmland in Paducah, Kentucky or something. You're going to just feel it. It's not going to be something you think. It's going to be something you feel. So when you're at the store and you feel like grabbing an extra something or other, just pay attention. Spirit speaks to us in the whispers. Spirit speaks to us in the impulse. We don't get long-term plans from the divine. We get impulses. So be at peace with that. Got no impulses? Don't do anything. Just keep on keeping on.
And someone explained it actually, and I kind of like the visual, is that when we are operating from our heart, I'm going to paraphrase it into my words, kind of mix with theirs. But if you look at the world that we were born into, is the right? It's a deep programming, television programming. There's a lot of stuff that is not serving our true nature of who we are and why we're here. In my opinion, we're here to remember, right? So going through that process of remembering. And so what we're doing is learning like that you're talking about. We don't get the huge imprints of the future things. We get those little bits. But as we disconnect from the matrix of the programming of the mental control and manipulation, that fear, right? And as we start to plug in, as I call it, the higher self, that's kind of outside of the matrix, right? And so it's your guidance, it's your navigation system. But if you can you'll start to feel it, like you said, everybody's a little bit different. I hear things, I can see things, I can feel things. So just because one person might hear something, you might feel it. Everybody's gonna get it a little bit different, but if you really take the time to tap in, and start to make that connection with your higher self, who literally is guiding you through all of it. But the more you can listen to that, I do find it's much easier to navigate, and you'll be guided through everything. So just know that it sometimes can be scary to start just moving into trust and saying, okay, I'll be provided for. I need to do this, or I need to do that. And like you're talking about, the mind wants to kind of figure out, well, why, if I do this, and how am I going to do this, and how am I going to do this, and just trust and put out there, like, okay, I have a friend who is like, I need money for this. And I'm like, do you really need money for this? Or do you just want that experience? And it's like, oh yeah, I really just want the experience. So bring in the experience. You don't have to bring it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah. And then they got something without even needing the money for it. So just be very clear of, open to the possibilities. Like, if, I just thought I'd throw that tidbit in.
And I also want to say that your mind is a very important part of your totality. So it's not like we want to shut the mind down and make it not work. The mind is the manifester. The mind is the creator. What we want to do is operate in balance. So for so long, the mind has been the superior master, and we were subservient to whatever our mind told us. If the mind was upset, we were anxious. If the mind was persecuting, we would be depressed. I mean, so the mind controlled us. We are now getting to the point where we become a partner with our mind, but the mind isn't in charge any longer, that we are working in harmony, and that harmony is always balanced. So it's using the mind when the mind is appropriate, using your heart and soul when that is appropriate. And as you learn to live in balance, they'll both kick in as needed and as appropriate to the situation. I certainly love my mind. It's been very helpful, but it's taken me a long time to get it in balance, because it was the master and I was the slave, and now it's not that way.
Going into the mind, it is my truth and my belief too, that we're actually programmed to be in constant fear if we don't follow the rules, I would say, right? So, like if you quit your job, you're programmed to think it's terrible and bad things are going to happen. And it's like, that's not necessarily the truth. The unknown is not supposed to be a scary thing, but it's our choice. But remember, your energy towards it can affect it and change it and shift it, because you're creating your own reality. So I do believe that's part of our programming in the matrix, to keep us out of our power, to keep us out of our true nature and potential. That fear is a low vibration. So anyone trying to put you in fear, check that out, because that's intentionally keeping you at a lower vibration, which is out of your power. And so I think that's also a fun thing to kind of start looking at, is like, oh, you feel scared and you feel nervous, but it's like, is that true? Like, is that really so scary? And I've been able to, like, for example, I hear a noise, right? And I would go into this pure frightened, and it's talking to, is that true? Am I really safe in this moment? Yeah, I'm actually in my bed and in my room. Like, I'm completely safe. So my head will tell me a different story, but then you kind of realize, like, oh, that doesn't have to be the truth. This could be the truth. And living through it is, or moving through it and questioning it and seeing where that comes from, I find is very helpful, because we are so powerful. Own your power.
I would even say, suggest looking at what you believe, as far as we're programmed to be fearful and we're living in the matrix and all that stuff. I mean, I did see Matrix, but I didn't memorize it. And so I don't believe I live in a matrix, and I don't believe that I'm programmed for anything. I think I picked up some beliefs along the way that don't serve me. So I'm very happy to let them go. But even the conditional truths that you tell yourself now can be limiting. And that's what we want to. We want to just be able to live our greatest self and fulfill our divine potential.
Absolutely. But I feel that.
Nicely said. That was like it.
You what?
Because it's like, the more and more that we talk about like all these additional, matrix and all, like everything that we just add on more baggage, because it's just more consumption of energy with us dissecting what it is that we are, when we just need to be what the moment is to us in the moment without judgment, and learn to live without judgment, and create as much detachment as possible, so it does not create anything dense that kind of will hold us in, or have us create more karma.
Correct. And living impersonally.
So that was nicely said.
Well, thank you. Same back at you.
I love Jake put in there, the mind is lousy master, but a wonderful servant. And that's from Ram Dass.
Oh, I like that. Thank you for adding that wisdom.
Yeah.
And the mind for so long kept us what it felt was safe. Its job was to protect us. And so, just like as when we were a child, our parents said, don't touch the light switch, you'll get electrocuted, and did all these things to build fear that we don't want to touch that which harms us. Well, that's sort of what the mind did for so long. It just kept us fear-based, so we would stay safe, crossing the road or hanging out with icky people or whatnot. And so now we're getting to the point where we don't need the mind to protect us. We can take care of ourselves. And that's soul emerging into its place of authority. Any other words of wisdom online?
Treasure Jules just says hearts and 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Yeah. And so a couple weeks ago, we gave people the assignment to do acts of kindness, not just to see what other people did, but to see how you felt it. How did those acts impact you? And so we've gotten lots of feedback from that. This week, I would like you to have your homework of just be mindful of use the light. You are here as a light master. How are you using the light? You are the light, but you also have power over the light. Light is the highest form of energy. Energy cannot be stopped or altered or blocked. It only can be transmuted and changed. And so this week, literally, see how many ways that you can use the light, that energy, for whatever purpose you want, but unconditionally. If you use it conditionally, it backfires and you get that karmic kick. So you don't want to do that. Unconditional. And then next week you can tell me how it goes. Hi, Nelsie. It's nice to see your face now. Want to add anything? You're muted, so okay, there you go.
Not today, maybe next time.
Oh, you look so serene in that woodsy environment.
It's my backyard. It's my recharge.
It looks like a sanctuary.
It's very therapeutic.
Wonderful.
I'm just what is it called? Integrating. It's just been a crazy past few weeks. So just integrating and
yeah,
flowing.
It has been. It has, and still continues to be. But if we think about shadow boxing, we always go up against someone who is just a little bit tougher than we are, and then we practice with that experience until we get really good. And then we have to get someone else who comes in who's a little bit better than we are to keep us growing. And
Right.
that's really what the universe is doing. It's giving you situations that are just a little bit uncomfortable. And as you master those, then you get the next set. It's a little bit more uncomfortable, but it keeps you growing and moving towards your mastery.
Absolutely.
And that's important. So just imagine how powerful you're going to be after you have all these experiences. And when
Thank
you
you.
think you can't handle it, then go, wow, I'm going to be really tough when I'm on the other side of this. You know, and that's what I imagine. When I get to the other side of this, I'm going to be even more stronger, more wise, more, you know, whatever it is. And getting to the other side becomes my goal.
I think that's a huge part, is if you're new on this spiritual awoken journey, is that I think for us that have gone through it many times, when we are in that deep place of, I call it the surrender state. But if you're in the processing, if you're challenged, if you're in a really, I would say, darker place, don't judge it. Know that it's exactly where you're supposed to be, but it's in that growth phase, right? So it's like that expansion doesn't always feel good or feel good, and then there's the kind of retreat, but then you kind of move into this other space. And so it's sometimes, as the saying goes, it has to fall apart for things to fall together. And also when you can sit in that, and you, instead of resisting it, because what you resist persists, but you can be okay with it, look at it, ask it what it's teaching you, what is it showing you, and it's literally giving you an opportunity to show yourself more love, show yourself more compassion. And on the other side of that transition is where the magic is. And so know that it's like part of your expansion, it's part of your growth, and that it's all perfect, it's all divine, and you are never alone. This is all in this together. And that's one of the things I just want to say thank you to all of you on here right now, whether you're on the live or watching the replay. Like, this is the connection, this is the tribe, this is, for me, it's, I love being able to like share these moments together, because none of us are alone. I bet all of you, if I would ask someone right now, how you feeling? I'm pretty sure it's been very challenging the last couple of weeks. And you're not alone. I can promise.
Well, I started my spiritual journey over 30 years ago. I can tell you it doesn't end. There's no end game. There's no finish line that you get to cross, that people talk about it as if all of a sudden tomorrow it's going to be over. We're going to do this. Your end game is when you die. Then you're finished. So there's no point in rushing to try and get through it. Just enjoy the moment. And I can tell you that from when I started and I thought I was over my head, that I'm still paddling and it's still over my head, and I just keep going. And my lessons have not ended because I haven't arrived with my spiritual greatness yet. I'm a lot more powerful than I was 30 years ago, but I'm not close to being finished. So if you stop thinking like there's a finish line, I got to hurry up and get to the finish line, that's what makes you crazy. Just go, today, I'm just going, just like the alcoholics. For today, I'm going to live without alcohol. For today, I'm going to do my best to be my greatest self. You know, what does that look like? Only you know. But don't beat yourself up if you have a human experience in that day and you get pissed off and, you know, do something less than spiritual. It's the human part of you. So for today, I'm going to live my greatest self. For today, I'm going to show up in my godliness. You know, and for today, I'm going to be as kind and compassionate to everyone I meet as I am to myself. Just for today, I'm going to be a broadcaster of love. Just for today, I'm going to honor every person I meet, from the beggar on the street to, you know, the most royal person I come in contact with. Just for today, I'm going to really recognize that I gave up a lot to come to this planet to serve my creator, just for today, I'm going to. And if you can just take and make that your way you start out in the morning, then just for today, you're going to have a fabulous day, no matter what comes to you. Because if your outside circumstances determine the quality of your experience, you're not there yet. It's you've got to determine the quality of your experiences and then deal with everything on the outside. Just for today.
Yeah, I love, yes. And there's a couple comments too that I want to read, but I like to remember too, was like, oh, wait, we thought this is fun to come in and experience ourselves. And the only way to know what God is to know the opposite, right? Not necessarily, but that's part of the journey. I find that the shadow, the dark, is actually the most expansive place, because you wouldn't truly know what connection feels like unless you felt disconnected. So it's that conscious awareness of like, okay, if I'm feeling, let's just say, I'm just going to use a thing. Like if I'm feeling abandoned by someone, then like, where am I abandoning myself? And it's like, oh, because I'm giving them my power, or it's always internal. It's never the other person. So look at that. But the more you can kind of go in and connect of like, I see where I pulled out of myself. I see where I didn't fully support myself, and just be like, okay, I did my best. And then the thing is, like, if you know your higher self is always got you, and you are literally a part of the divine, you are the oneness of all that is, then nothing is by accident. And that gift is literally for you to know the opposite. So some people talk about in the darkness is the portal. To me, it's in this, it's the expansion place. It's like when you can get into the dark, you wouldn't know what the light looks like unless you knew the dark, right? So it's that polarity, the duality. It's just one with the other. And in order to really know the powers, like sometimes you have to, experience the others. And then, so just real quick, there's a couple comments, is that one person said, feels awful on Sundays, there's peaks and valleys, and starting to be okay with it, but it's taking a lot of time, and then healing with the heart. And one thing to know is you're never broken. It might feel like we're broken, but I promise you, you are always whole. And then another comment was, and so much more aware, right? Aware of things I had never noticed before. I don't have a desire to drink hardly ever more, or even anymore. And it's different, big heart, and one day at a time. Yes. And I think that's totally true. And as you kind of go through the spiritual journey, to me, your truth will be different, right? What you're more aware of, what you can see of. And I think that's one of the best things that we do. If you could start your day with the beginning of this call, we always talk about ask to know truth and ask for protection and guidance. And I believe we have a whole team that we come into this place of existence. We are never alone, but through that team, they can't interfere with human will, because we have free will, and that's choice. And so we have to make the choice to have our protection, to have our guidance, and to know truth. And then it's like, okay, boom. And then they can assist you and guide you and bring you the people into your life, like Treasure Jewels. Like, I think it's super fun, like how you came into my life, like it's just, we never know, all of you, like Nelsie, you know what I mean? Like, it's just fun. Like, we don't know how we're gonna connect, but it's just allowing it, being open to it, put out what you want, right? And then let the universe bring it to you. Okay.
Is there anything else that you want to read? Because I have a comment to make.
Okay, make a comment.
Okay. First of all, we made a huge sacrifice coming to this planet. We didn't come just for fun, because we have been practicing for this lifetime for many, many lifetimes, because this lifetime is so important. So there were lifetimes where we intentionally screwed up. We intentionally did evil things just to see how it felt, because this lifetime is so important. We didn't want to get off track this lifetime. The biggest sacrifice that we made, if you notice when we were playing with the light, it feels a little more peaceful, it feels a little calmer. Well, each time we do that, it's like if we talked about our energy as a thermometer, we would take it up a degree and up a degree. And every time you play in the light, you raise your vibration. Eventually, your vibration will become so high or aligned with the divine, you plug into the divine. But most people on the planet are not there yet. They're not even close. So when we were in non-body, before we came to this planet, we were plugged into the divine, pure unconditional love. It was euphoric. As close as you can get to that energy now is in that moment of orgasm, when you just feel like, ooh, that feels really good. You are as close as you can get to that energy. But every time when your spiritual journey goes up, so does the orgasmic energy. But when we were out of body, we were plugged into the divine. To come back into physical density, we had to agree to unplug, lower our vibration to this very heavy, cumbersome energy, and come into this planet and agree to forget all of that stuff. Because if we remembered it, it would be overwhelming. So we have to discover it at our own pace as we are ready. When many people begin to wake up, literally, they remember that energy. And so they kill themselves, sometimes in acts of avert suicide, sometimes falling off a bridge or having a little car accident. But they miss that energy connection to such a degree that I want to go home. I just want to go home. Let me out of here. This is too hard. It's too heavy. It's too intense. I want to go home. And so they do in one form or another. Now, a word of warning, if you suicide, then literally you've got to come back and do the whole thing plus one. So suicide is never an escape. It's only a temporary reprise so that you would come back and play it again. But nonetheless, that's what we gave up. And as we begin to recognize, we begin then to raise our vibrations so that we can bring that energy to the planet. That intense love is where we're going in fifth dimension, so that we again recognize the oneness. And that was a huge sacrifice. And we knew what we were giving up when we came into this planet. If you've seen those old pictures of those people who put on the suits to go walking in the water and that could deal with the pressure, they had the big helmets and like the undersea things, and they were connected to the oxygen, and they were just big and cumbersome and heavy and weighted, so they would be able to walk in the ocean floor rather than float to the top. Well, that's sort of how being in physical body is versus being in spirit. It's cumbersome. It's hard work. It is not for the faint of heart. Earth is a very advanced planet. Every single person on this planet has attained mastery before they would even attempt to come into Earth. So you look at the homeless, the most incompetent, the most whatever, and recognize that is a spiritual master in a physical body having a unique experience for whatever reason. We begin then to see each other in a different light. There's lots of planets you go for easy lessons. Earth is not that place. You got anything, Stace, or anybody else have anything they want to share? Lucas, you want to say something? Okay.
I do, yeah. I want to
Okay.
connect the dots here because I had this experience. I was
Okay.
driving by in front of I believe a medical hospital, and there was a gentleman in a wheelchair sitting in a bus stop, and it was very clear he wasn't waiting for a bus. He was just sitting there enjoying his afternoon. And then the same day I drove by a green field, and it was in the middle of an interstate somewhere in New York. Green field with no road access, but there was a seat, like a little bench made next to it. And I imagine it was to watch the automobiles go by. So I realized that guy sitting, really, that's kind of what I thought. I was like, wow, that guy's probably a spiritual. That probably is Jesus Christ just watching it all happen, because he doesn't need to interfere. He wants to experience that through the most limitation, right? And I figured out that by trying to feel what that person was feeling instead of simply thinking about what got him there, I had so much more kindness and compassion towards him. And then it was a little easier to understand the world around me because of those two experiences. And the kindness was also part of the first homework of being like, how can I implement kindness? How could I have been kinder to that person? Did I give him a look? Because I wasn't aware. I was like, how did he see me see him? And that was cool. So I'm glad you mentioned
that is a great experience. And that's true compassion. We can get inside someone else's experience. We become one with them and take that on a universal level. And that's what we do for the whole planet. We become one with everyone. We know what they're doing. So how can we be harmful to someone when we're in this incredible loving energy and we're connected to them at every level? And we're connected to the earth and the earth energies, because everything has a consciousness. It isn't just connected to human consciousness, it's to all consciousness. Now, see, you look like you're ready to say something. You got anything you want to share?
My son didn't know that I was sitting out here, so he's all, I didn't know you were out here. How long have you been out here?
Oh. You look like you're having divine revelations.
I have been. I'm so glad that I joined when I got Stacy will send me the notification on Instagram. And I wasn't home at the time. So I was determined to join when I got home. And even though, I had to make dinner and stuff, just the energy in these conversations, and I don't ever say much, but just the energy and feeling the oneness, it's worth it. It really,
that's the important part.
Yeah. It just kind of connects you with that flow, with, the divine, I don't know, love, whatnot feelings. So thank you to all of you.
Well, thank you. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
We lost Nate again.
I want to say I love the haircut. And I think it's fun too.
It's gone.
Letting go of like all the old stuff. It's like a whole new energetic kind of reboot, restart. Because our hair holds a lot of our energy.
Yeah, I only cut it off. It's kind of TMI, but I'm growing my natural grays out. So I had the highlights, and so I cut it in layers first, and I thought I'm just going to cut it off. It grows really fast. So, but I was debating between having the long hair, having the, the spiritual significance of it, and then short. So, but within a year, it'll be long again. So, but yeah, so all natural.
Love it.
Thanks.
Cool. I'm having to have more pictures taken because in all my pictures, my hair was dyed different colors and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And so now there's no pictures of me this is my natural color, what I call my COVID hair. And so, because I wouldn't sit with the mask on to get it dyed. So now I've got to get new pictures taken. So I've got my for real hair.
I call mine my silver wisdom after I have 4 kids. And so between the kids and the 2 cats and the dog and the husband, I feel like there's a bit of wisdom going on. So
well, there you go.
I used to be a Redken hair model, and I remember one of the things that they were talking about as grays were they called stress highlights, and I thought that was hilarious. But I mean, we all have them. They're definitely.
Mine aren't highlights anymore. It's solid.
I love that your friend was like, I call you silver, white, blonde, foxy. Your beautiful hair. I'm not sure what's caused laughing when they're talking about your hair. It's kind of all of it. Silver, it's white.
Whatever. It's all perfect. Okay.
As I thought it was. Okay, someone asked, what's the best way to find patience? Well, I'll start.
First of all, you can't find patience. You choose patience. You're either choosing to be patient or you're choosing to be impatient. It's a decision. It's a choice. And so in every situation, you get to say, am I going to choose to show up patiently, or am I going to choose to show up impatiently? Every situation is a choice. when you take and seek patience, what you're calling on is a speeding up of those opportunities. So you'll get lots and lots more opportunities to decide whether in this situation, am I choosing patience, or in this situation, am I choosing impatience? And that's internally for yourself, and choosing that for yourself as well as the world around you. And we all know what patience feels like. We also know what impatience feels like. It's a choice. It's a choice. And the more you choose patience, the more that becomes the natural default place in your life.
Jake said it's a better way to ask the question is, what's the best way to practice patience? And I'm going to add, if you're learning, quote unquote, so everything is about intentions, right? Because we have free will. So if your intention is, I want to learn patience, I would also add to be able to embody patience with ease and grace. Because ease and grace also just is saying you want to do it easy. Like, I don't know, you can do it the hard way, but I always like, if it's possible, I want to do the easy way. But sometimes we choose the hard way because that's going to be how we like to learn our lessons. And only you know that by looking at your own life. So just know, and I would even say like embody, like, how do I embody patience? What am I choosing? And going into really start to, figure out if you're from the mind or from your heart. But when we're out of attachment, we're out of judgment, we're out of comparison, and we're not operating from that place of separation, it's a lot easier to be patient because to know that they're exactly where they need to be. And it's just like holding space. Like sometimes we need a little tantrum or we have little emotions and we cry. Like we don't need someone to change our crying. We just need someone to speak, okay, here's a napkin, like I got you, or tissue. So it's giving yourself, I would say, also the freedom to just be who you are, to live in that, whatever that looks like. But it's a big question.
Well, think of it. If you were in elementary school and you wanted to get 100% on your spelling test, you would have to practice those words. You'd write them out over and over again. You would have someone call you on them. You'd practice so that you knew how to spell that word immediately. Well, think of patience as that same kind of skill. What were the 3 places today that you weren't as patient as you would like to be? And literally write them out. Or what were the 3 things that you really did show patience today? Write those out. And so tomorrow, when X, Y, and Z happens, this is how I choose to react. Prepare yourself for a place where you may not be as patient as you'd like to be. And again, just recognize that it's a choice. There's no good, there's no bad. There's just that divine presence. Are you showing up in this situation divinely empowered, or you showing up in that space as an impatient human being who's got something to do and someplace to be and has to rush? It's a choice. And whatever you choose this moment in no way ties you to the next moment or the next moment. So in every situation, you're free to choose. So just give yourself the lessons of patience, or think in terms of who do you know that's a very patient person that you admire, and then emulate that behavior in your head. I'm going to channel my friend Noelle, because Noelle is the most patient woman that I know. Not a doormat, not, a wishy-washy kind of person, but a patient person. Who is that person in your life? And channel them. It's a choice. It was a great question. Was that Jake's question?
That was Jules.
Thank you, Jules. I love the question. And you think in terms of, if you're going to show up as your greatest divine self, what would that look like? How would you sound? How would you carry yourself? How would you interact with others? Practice that mindset, because that's how you're going to bring it into your world. You might go watch I think the Princess Diaries. It was that Anne Hathaway or whatever her name is, who was tapped to be a princess of some country, and she had to be taught how to be a princess. And so think in terms of the lessons that she had to be princess, and then you do the same thing to be divine. You know, you are a part of the divinity of all that is. What does that look like? What does that act like? How do you bring it into your world? Okay, it's 1 hour and 48 minutes. So I think this is, unless there's more questions, I think this is a wonderful time to bring our conversation to a close. We'll just talk slow, so in case there's the last questions or last issues. I do my best not to go over 2 hours, but go ahead, Stacy.
Just a reminder, if you're we do this every Thursday at 4 Pacific, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. You're welcome to join us on the Zoom. The Zoom is on your screen. If you are watching and you're just listening on YouTube, it's 428-733-218 is our Zoom. Zoom. And there is a delay, so if you do have questions, feel free to ask. And Mom loves questions. And so that's kind of usually where our conversation is around our questions. So if there's anything that's coming up, please ask away.
And our calls always have 3 parts. The first is the calling in, protection, guidance, and truth. The second part is light work. And then the third one is just our conversation. So wherever that goes and whatever that takes us is divinely perfect. My email address is heather@heatherharder.com. I do private sessions if someone should want them. Tell your friends and family and anybody else who may be interested in our conversation about them. So that's our marketing. You tell people, that's our marketing technique. And if you want to listen to a replay from any week, they're on Stacy Harder's YouTube channel. So you can go there and you can listen to some of the past recordings. Every week they're different. We go into different things. But my goal is to be here to, well, thank you, Nate. He says, I would love to do a session with Mom. Thank you. And for some reason, I'm getting a lot of people calling me Mom, which is kind of interesting.
I love it.
I know.
I mean, you're literally.
I'm the Mama Earth.
I had already kind of filled out my application, a while ago for that. I'm sure you know, be a son, a spiritual son. So,
well, I'm always here for you. I'm happy to be any of your mothers. I'm proud to be all of your mothers. Anyway, going right along, the goal of the conversation is to make you more confident at being you and more competent at being here to serve the light. So if there's any way I can be of service to, let me know. Heather@heatherharder.com. And then Nate, if you want to just email me, we can set up a session. Yay. So I love you all.
I will certainly do that.
Okay. And we do have a Facebook group message board where we put things for each other and ask questions and stuff. It's different than the Facebook page. So if you want to be a part of that, please let Stacy know and she can put you on that.
That also, just know that there's a lot of information, like for example, Treasure Jewels, you would love it. It's that kind of sharing. So it's stuff that we can't necessarily talk out loud here about, if you catch my drift. And also, Jake said, thank you so very much, Heather and Stacy. You are special ladies. And I said, thank you. And it takes one to know one. it's going to be weird because I had another call coming through, but didn't really come through. So I don't know what's going on. My phone's been funny. Sending love.
Okay.
But
The Facebook group, you need to message Stacy. Make sure your friend is Stacy's and friend of mine. Then she enters your Facebook Messenger thing into our little group. I have no idea how many people are in the little group now. And then we just send out, like, if there's something that we want everybody to see, then we just send it out in there if there's questions. And so it's a kind of interesting thing. Evolved out of the political conversation we used to have on Sundays. But so anyway, go ahead,
no,
Stace.
I was being its funny self because I can see the flashing. So if you're not hearing this, it's the world we're living in. We just have to love it and bless it. But you should be able to rewatch it on YouTube without interference. But I can tell on Instagram there's a flashing that happens with the clock and the microphone, which means it doesn't allow people to hear me on Instagram. So it's just doing its thing. Which is why I stopped doing Facebook, because it stopped allowing me to share and go live.
All right, with that, have a wonderful week. I want you to challenge yourself to show up as your godly self at every situation, and then also to use the light. Just share the light, be the light in every situation. And then we'll hear back next week on how it felt and what you did and all that kind of stuff. And then Lucas, we'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. And all of you have a lovely, lovely week. Not necessarily easy, but a lovely week.
Yes.
Enjoy the challenge.
You
Thank
too.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
And Nelson, hang on a second. I'm going to stop. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you. Mwah. You're not alone. I